Hello YouTube, what's up? It's been a long time since I've uploaded a video, but following some messages I received, today we're gonna talk about some of the Christian saints. Yes, I know, most of the world, thank God, aren't Jewish, and many people are Christians, and many people believe in the saints mentioned in the New Testament. Now, the thing is that many of the saints mentioned in the New Testament were actually born around here in what's called Judea, or nowadays Israel, and many of them were actually Jews. So they had Jewish names, and that's where I come in. So today I'm going to talk about the 12 disciples of Christ and the origins of their names. Now, some of them have Greek names, and I'll mention them. And I am not an expert on Greek names, but if they have a Hebrew version, then I will, of course, try to explain it. First thing first, let's start with Peter. Saint Peter is considered the first pope, and he's considered the main saint within the disciples. The name Peter, or Petrus in his Greek version, was given to him by Christ. The original name of Peter is Simon. Simon in Hebrew, Shimon. Shimon derives from the word lishmoa. Shama is heard. Shimon is a name that appears in the books of the Torah in the Old Testament as one of the tribes of Israel, and when given this name, explained as God has heard my prayer. So Shimon is all about hearing stuff. Now, Christ changes Simon's name to Petrus. Peter is a rock in Greek, saying you're steady as a rock or rock steady. Now, the meaning steady as a rock actually has another word in the Hebrew version of the New Testament, which is called kaifa. Kaifa is Aramaic for a rock, a stone, and actually there's another kaifa in the New Testament, which you know, which is the high priest Caiaphas. Caiaphas is named Kaifa, or Yosef Bar Kaifa, Joseph, which is also known, or Joseph, the son of Kaifa, derives from the word rock, which means strength, etc. The second saint we're going to talk about is Saint Andrew, or Andreas in Greek. This one doesn't actually have a Hebrew name, but Andreas is supposed to be Peter's brother. He is also a fisherman, and the name Andreas means brave in Greek. So one is a rock, the other is brave. Probably another name given to him by someone else, but the origin of his Hebrew name remains unknown from the New Testament, at least. The next one is Saint James, the holy patron of many Christian countries around the world. It's interesting to know that he's buried in Israel, actually, but James isn't named James. His name is Jacob, or Yaakov. Yaakov in the Old Testament was one of the founding fathers of the Jews, while his name Yaakov comes from the word akev, which means a heel. It is told that when he was born with his elder twin, and he cut his brother by the heel. He was always following him and fighting him. So that's the origin of the name Yaakov. It's a rather popular Hebrew name, and his Greek and Latin version is James. The funny thing that there are some Latin names derived from James and Yaakov, like Iago and Diego, Saint Diego, although I know only one Diego. On for the next one. The next saint will be John. Now, I am rather connected to this one because my name is similar to John. My Russian name is Jan. Jan is a version of Johann or John, but the Hebrew name of Saint John was Yohanan. Now, if you have watched my previous videos, you would know that Yo or Ya are abbreviations of God's name. Hanan is a moratorium, a blessing, or a release from sins. So Yohanan is God has released him from his sins or his punishment. That was a really popular name during Christ's time, and there are a few Saint Johns, including John the Baptist or Yohanan HaMatbil in Hebrew. Matbil is like Baptist, someone who sinks people in the water. So the next saint is Saint Philip. Philip also doesn't have a Hebrew version of his name, although Philip was a popular Greek name around here, being the father of Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great had a big influence in this region. Actually, when he occupied Judea, the head priest, Shimon, has ordered to name all the kids that were born that day Alexander or Alexandra after the great conqueror. He was considered someone sent by God. So Alexander's name and his family, although Greek, were immediately considered local. So Philip didn't have a Hebrew version for his name, but probably it was his original name. The next saint would be Bartholomew. Bartholomew actually sounds Greek or Latin, but in fact it's a Hebrew name. Bar in Hebrew is son of or a quality of someone. You can say that someone is Bar Koach, has strength. It's kind of similar to Arabic names, where someone is named after his eldest son or after a quality. You can call the president of the Palestinians Abu Mazen after his eldest son Mazen, although his name is Mahmoud Abbas. Or if someone doesn't have a son, you can call him Abu Jamil, the one who has beauty, for example. So in Hebrew, Baal is someone who has something or the son of, and Talmai is Aramaic for a farmer. So Bartholomew is actually son of a farmer, which may tell us something about his and his family's profession. Now, Bartholomew's original name, according to the New Testament, is Nathaniel. Well, Nathaniel comes from two words. El as a suffix is God. You also have heard it from me. And Nathan is given. The word Nathan appears in many names. The name Nathan itself, the name Jonathan, like me, Yo is God, Nathan gave, and our Prime Minister Netanyahu, Nathan gave, Yahu, again, God. So Nathaniel is the original name of Bartholomew, given by God. The next saint would be Matthew. Matthew in Hebrew is named Mati. Mati is a common Israeli name shortened for Matityahu or Matatia or Matania or other really long names from that era, but probably his original name was Matia. Matat or Mat is a present, and Yah, God, so present from God. You see that the whole thing of God giving stuff fits in Hebrew names, which kind of makes sense. Now, Matthew has another name, Levi or Levi, was one of the tribes of Israel. Levaya means following. It also means a funeral nowadays, following the deceased to his grave. Now, the Leviim, the tribe of Levites, were the tribe of priests that followed the work of God in the temple. It doesn't mean that he came from this tribe, but it actually was a popular name. So there you have it, Matthew or Levi. The next saint, and my personal favorite, is Thomas. I like him for his doubting, of course, but actually Thomas has two meanings for his name, both Hebrew. Now, the first one would come from his other name. Thomas is also known as Didymus. Didymus in Greek is twins, being the twin of Christ, so close to Christ that he is like his twin. Now, the interesting thing is that twin in Hebrew is teom, kind of similar to Thomas, so probably the word Thomas comes from him being a twin. Now, another meaning of Thomas is a bit strange. You see, Thomas is a strange Latin version of the word fava. Fava is a Greek or Slavic version, and the sound F is similar to TH and the sound V is similar to M, and actually in the origin his name was Chaim. Chaim is a popular Jewish name, not so popular nowadays, considered a bit old. Chaim is life, like the drinking chant Lechaim, to life, Jewish cheers. So this is another origin for the name Thomas. The name Thomas, or his modern version like Tom, is popular in Hebrew too. Tom means two things in Hebrew. One meaning is the end, not so nice, but sometimes given to a child which is considered to be the last one in a family with many children when they don't want any more children. And another meaning for Tom is naivety. Being naive, being righteous is also part of being Tom. So Thomas is a popular name nowadays in Israel in that meaning. The next saint is a bit not interesting for me because he's also named James, James the smaller one, sometimes considered James, brother of Christ. He's not biologically the brother of Christ, but he was close to him. So just like the other James, this one is Jacob too, so we'll get on with it. Now, the next one would be Thaddeus Judas. Thaddeus Judas was named Judas and was given another name just to be differentiated from Judas Iscariot. Actually, I don't have anything to say about the meaning of the name Thaddeus. I will be glad to hear about it from y'all Greek talking or knowing people. But he was differentiated from Judas, and I'll talk about Judas when we get to the famous Judas Iscariot. The next one would be Simon Zealot. Now, Simon Zealot has the name Simon, just like Peter. Simon, Shimon, hearing, and he was also added the suffix Zealot as a jealous one. He was a rather radical saint and has a great part in Jesus Christ Superstar. I kindly recommend it. And now for the last one, the man that can be seen only in profile and pictures, Judas Iscariot. Now, Judas is a common name named after the tribe Yehuda. Yehuda is one of the only tribes left from the tribes of Israel. We call ourselves Yehudim, people of the tribe Yehuda, the tribe that was left. Although there are remains of other tribes, but most Jews come from the tribe of Yehuda and are named Jews after that Yehuda, not Judas Iscariot. The name Yehuda was popular in Judea, Yehuda, and Judas was one of those. Now, Judas is called Judas Iscariot. What's Iscariot? Iscariot is a geographical name. Ish, a person. Cariot, Krayot. Krayot is a place in ancient Judea. Nowadays, there are cities named Krayot. Don't go there, it's a shitty place. However, it's not the same Krayot as then. Geographical names were rather common in that era. For example, Mary Magdalene or Maria Magdalena comes from a town called Migdal, a tower in Hebrew. It's not a last name or a nickname. I guess I've talked a lot about some Christian names, which apparently are Hebrew. And maybe some of you have these names, so now you know their meaning and origin. I would be glad to tell you more, so keep on writing me and I'll keep on updating you about Hebrew names. Hope to see you again and not in 2 years. Shalom.
Will no one stay awake with me? Peter, John, James. Will none of you wait with me? Peter, John, James.